Great poet or sexually abusive monster? I'll let you decide. Today we're in Newstead Abbey in Nottinghamshire. My name's Ben, and this is Halfway to Nowhere.
So leaving Newstead village, there's a pit pub behind me there. This is a back road into Newstead Abbey. I've been down here before and I've not had to pay to get in because you can kind of sneak around the gate because it's not wide enough to keep a bike out. Normally it's people who live here who are permitted to use this gate. My mother-in-law lives around the corner in Newstead village, so I'm going to say that entitles me and see how we go on. So far so good.
In a proud British tradition of giving places confusing names, Newstead Abbey was never actually an abbey, but instead a priory called St Mary of Newstead, dating back to 1170. Following some guy called Henry getting pissed off about the unavailability of multiple divorces and deciding to start his own church, priory was taken from the Catholic Church and handed to Sir John Byron, the great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather of the most famous Byron, George Gordon Byron. Why was he given this? Who knows? Probably because he was already rich and fucked poor people, I imagine. Lord George Gordon Byron, born in 1788, is remembered as a great romantic poet and a playboy with a rock and roll lifestyle. This description is a convenient gloss for a much darker reality. His documented scandals include incest with his half-sister, a sexual relationship with a 14-year-old, and attempting to buy a 12-year-old as his muse. To add to the aesthetic, he routinely drank wine from a monk's skull. Ironically, Byron's great-uncle is historically branded as the Wicked Lord, named so because he killed his cousin, William Charleworth, after an argument over who had more deer on their land, Charleworth himself owning nearby Annesley Hall. Clearly upsetting the ruling class was considered a greater sin than the poet's preference for pedestry, very much creating the blueprint for the Andrew formerly known as Prince for his philandering and subsequent protection. I guess nothing changes. I'll skip ahead here because the grounds are huge. It's 2.5 miles from where I've entered to the exit, and it's going to take a while to get to the house.
It is the Easter break at the minute, so I imagine there'll be a fair few people out and about. It's Lord Byron's ancestral home. That's what all the fuss is about. I did bring my drone today, but I don't know if I'm... You know what? I'm going to fly it. And if anyone tells me not to, I'll say, sorry, I didn't realise, and I'll stop flying it. It's about as close to outcome as off-road on this thing anyway.
As problematic, that's one way of putting it, as a Byron family may be, they certainly know how to make someone else look after the home for them. The home and grounds have changed much over the centuries since the original 1170 priory. It was transformed with the additions of a great hall, lodgings and carp ponds. The Byron family then added formal gardens, dammed the River Leen to create 2 lakes, and the aforementioned dear braggart, wicked lord, built miniature forts to have mock naval battles. Today, visitors can still explore the grounds and range of gardens, including a distinctive Japanese garden. The cafe and gardens are accessible for a price of car parking, or you can pay to go on foot or cycle, and the house is open for a fee if you like that kind of thing. Unfortunately, the cafe does insist on not drinking from human remains, which is a bit of a downer. I got lucky and got a very cheap entry on Mother's Day. I think it cost us £4 for all the family. You can see the crime scene where the magic happened, the school that Byron drank from, and wander around pondering what on earth people did with so many rooms before having things to put in them. Lots of information on Byron's dog too, which is always welcome because dogs are great. You don't see dogs trying to buy younger dogs to traumatise. Newstead Abbey is a stone's throw from Nottingham. Towards the end of Byron's life and in subsequent years, Nottingham's working class faced some pretty horrific conditions. On top of having to cope with a local accent, life expectancy plummeted to 15 to 20 years. 1/3 of babies died before their first birthday, primarily due to overcrowding and a lack of clean water. Meanwhile, the same River Leen that fed Newstead's decorative lakes was an open sewer in the city's slums. While the aristocracy partook in debauchery, the poor died. People starved in slums and the rich spent ridiculous amounts of money transforming the estate into a Gothic fantasy, a stark monument to wealth built upon surrounding poverty. Contrast between the rich and the poor mirrors conflict within Byron himself. On one hand, a supposedly brilliant poet, I'll be honest, I'm more into hip-hop than I am 19th century poetry, who was vocally opposed to slavery at a time where this wasn't really the norm. On the other hand, a sexual deviant who took advantage of the poor. The frustrating thing for me is while everyone remembers Byron for his chaotic indulgence, his daughter's fallen into relative obscurity. Ada Lovelace, his daughter, was a mathematician widely considered the first computer programmer. How ironic that a man defined by chaos fathered a daughter who quite literally wrote the first instructions for a machine. Either way, both roads lead to the same path. They're both interred in the family vault in St Mary Magdalene Church in Hucknall. Byron's friends, yep, friends, people who enjoyed the company of a man who tried to buy children, petitioned for him to be buried in Poets' Corner in Westminster Abbey. The government politely told Byron's friends to piss off in a roundabout way, given his moral and literal bankruptcy. Not wanting to appear entirely disrespectful, the London aristocracy compromised by sending a procession of 43 empty carriages to follow his coffin out of the city. So it came to pass that after a lifetime of unimaginable wealth and absolute debauchery, his final send-off was effectively a parade of 43 empty boxes and ending up in Hucknall. As it happens, the church where he's buried is over the road from the Half Moon, a pub where underage teenagers get pissed and cop off of each other under the watchful eyes of seedy men on a Friday night, so I'm sure in some way Byron would have probably approved. If you enjoyed this video, then please like or subscribe. If you can think of a fate worse than being stuck in Hucknall forever, then drop a comment below.